Good afternoon. It is Friday, February 10th, 2023. How do you live a life worth living? What makes a life worth living? When you reach the end of it and you look back on it, will you say you've had a life well lived? In today's passage, the Apostle Paul was contemplating the things that made his life worth living. And part of that was his relationship with the Philippian church. In Philippians 2, verses 12 to 18, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition, it says, "Dear friends, you always followed my instructions when I was with you. And now that I'm away, it's even more important. Work hard to show the results of your salvation, obeying God with deep reverence and fear. For God is working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases Him. Do everything without complaining and arguing, so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Hold firmly to the word of life. Then, on the day of Christ's return, I'll be proud that I did not run the race in vain and that my work was not useless. But I will rejoice even if I lose my life, pouring it out as a liquid offering before God, just like your faithful service is an offering to God. And I want all of you to share that joy. Yes, you should rejoice, and I will share your joy." Paul had a beautiful relationship with the Philippian church, and as he looked back on their time together, now that he is apart from them, he wanted to share with them how they could make the most of the lives that they had. First thing he said to do is to follow godly instructions, to listen to what we're taught and to do what we're taught, to work hard. Oh, how we've lost sight of the beauty of a work ethic and this idea of Christians working hard to learn the word and follow the word and be obedient to the godly instructions we've been given, to obey God in beautiful obedience. Then he mentions both reverence and fear for God. We need to revere and fear God because God is at work in our lives. To recognize that the creator of the universe cares enough about us that he is involved in our individual lives. And that ought to stir us up and shake us up and scare us just a little bit. And he says to stop complaining and arguing, to avoid the criticism that comes if all we do is complain and argue. It's amazing how many people can just fill all of their words with criticisms and complaints and arguing. There are some people, if you tell them the sky is blue, they're going to argue with you about it, even on a beautiful, bright, blue, sunshiny day. We need to avoid the arguing and the complaining. He tells us to shine brightly. In a world full of perverse and crooked people, we need to shine brightly, to look differently. And as we hold firmly to the word of life, to rejoice, to look forward to what's going to happen. I am convinced that a godly worldview and a Christian worldview is an optimistic worldview. In spite of everything going on wrong around us, as we hold firmly to the word of life, we can rejoice and recognize that God is in charge and God is going to bring things to pass the way He wants to. Paul recognizes that his life may be ended soon, and he wants the Philippian church to recognize that even though he may not be with them anymore, he still has a high expectation of how they're going to act and how they're going to respond. And it's beautiful when people have high expectations of each other and encourage each other to reach to those expectations. How do you live a life that's worth the living? by being obedient to God and recognizing God's action in your lives and following God in the direction God sends. And Paul and the Philippian church say that their lives were well worth the living. May our lives be worthwhile this week. God bless you.